Let's jump straight in. That box grater hiding in your kitchen drawer? The one that's been waging war on your knuckles for years. Turns out every single time you've used it, you've been doing it the hard way. Here's what most people do. They stand it upright like it's some kind of monument to dairy products, and then watch helplessly as cheese goes flying in every direction except where it's supposed to go. Your counter gets covered, the floor gets covered. Some cheese somehow teleports to the next room. It's a disaster zone every single time. Ready for the secret that'll change everything? Flip it on its side. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. That feels completely backwards, like some kind of kitchen blasphemy. Like dunking your fries in a milkshake or wearing socks with sandals. But hear me out. When that grater is lying flat, physics finally starts working with you instead of against you. The shredded cheese drops straight down exactly where you need it, onto your plate or cutting board, instead of embarking on an adventure under your refrigerator. Cleanup time? Cut in half. But it gets better. The leverage you get this way is insane. Instead of fighting to keep the thing steady while pushing down at this weird angle, you can just slide the cheese across using your whole arm. Your hand stops cramping up from gripping the handle like your life depends on it. The whole setup is more stable, you work faster, and you've got total control. And you know, that pathetic little cheese stub you always throw away because you're not trying to add fingertips to your tacos. With this sideways technique, you can grate that thing down to almost nothing. Just press it across with your palm, fingers nowhere near the danger zone. You're getting every last bit of cheese you paid for while keeping your hands intact. One simple flip, and suddenly everything works better. You'll actually grate more cheese in less time, and for once, your kitchen won't look like a family of mice through a rave. But that grater trick is just the warm-up. There's another kitchen task we're all making way too complicated. Bell peppers, right? The normal method is slicing them in half and then going to war with those white membranes and seeds for what feels like an eternity. Seeds stick to everything. Your hands, your knife, your board, probably your shirts somehow. It's like attempting delicate surgery on produce while everything goes haywire. Turns out, professional chefs figured out a smarter approach ages ago. Start by cutting off both ends of the pepper. What you've got now is basically a pepper cylinder. Set it upright on your board. Then, make a single vertical slice down one side, top to bottom. Here's the satisfying part. The whole thing unrolls like a scroll. Seriously, you can just flatten it out into one long sheet of pepper that takes maybe 2 seconds to clean. All those membranes and seeds that normally torture you? They're either still stuck to the core you already removed, or they just slide right off your flat pepper sheet. No more fighting. No more seed shrapnel flying across your kitchen like nature's confetti. The real advantage is what you're left with. This flat piece of pepper is perfect for meal prep. Want uniform strips for a stir-fry? Easy. Need a precise dice? No problem. You're working with a flat surface instead of wrestling with curves. Just think about all the minutes of your life you've lost fighting with bell peppers the old way. This unroll technique is so simple and obvious once you see it, you'll kick yourself for not knowing it sooner. And speaking of better cooking methods, we need to talk about the tragedy that is reheated pizza. You've got a cold slice in your fridge calling your name. Without thinking, you head straight for the microwave, zap it for 30 seconds, and what do you get? Something with the texture of soggy cardboard sitting on lava. The cheese becomes rubber. Parts of the crust turn chewy while other parts turn rock hard. And you're sitting there thinking you should have just eaten it cold. Stop using the microwave. The oven takes too long. Here's what actually works. Grab a pan and put it on your stove over medium-low heat. Drop your slice in there and let the bottom crisp up for about a minute or two. Now here's where it gets interesting. Splash a few drops of water into the pan, nowhere near the pizza itself, and slam a lid on top immediately. What you've engineered here is genius. The bottom of your slice is getting direct heat, which crisps up the crust, while those water drops are creating steam that gets trapped under your lid. That steam is gently warming up the toppings and melting the cheese to perfection, without turning anything into a soggy mess. It's like your pizza is getting a spa treatment. Steam bath on top, hot stone therapy on the bottom. Give it 2 or 3 minutes, and you've basically resurrected that slice. Crispy crust again, cheese that's perfectly melted and gooey, toppings that are actually hot and delicious. Real talk, it often tastes even better than when you first got it delivered. This stovetop method rescues all the texture and flavor that the microwave absolutely murders. Your leftover pizza deserves better. And while we're on the topic of working smarter instead of harder, picture this. You just blended up a healthy smoothie, feeling all virtuous and stuff. Then you glance at your blender and remember you hate your life. There's dried kale cemented to the sides, frozen berry bits clinging on like they've moved in permanently. So you grab a sponge and start the awkward, vaguely terrifying process of reaching around those razor-sharp blades, trying to scrub away what looks like ancient cave paintings made from protein powder. Stop right there. Being lazy is actually the smart play here. After you pour out your smoothie, don't even rinse it. Just squirt in a little dish soap and add some warm water. Fill it maybe halfway. Go higher and you'll create a soap explosion when you hit that button. Now pop the lid back on and let your blender do its thing. Blend. Run that bad boy for 30 seconds and just watch what happens. The soapy water turns into a cleaning tornado that hits every spot your sponge could never reach. That mysterious gap underneath the blades where berry seeds go to disappear forever? This method blasts it all clean. When you're done, dump out the soapy water, quick rinse, and you're finished. It'll be spotless. Cleaner than your browser history after you realize someone else might use your laptop. Got something really stuck on there? Like a protein shake that's basically fossilized at this point? Toss a couple ice cubes in with the soap and water. Those ice cubes turn into thousands of miniature scrub brushes, obliterating everything. Your blender literally washes itself while you're enjoying your drink. Moving beyond the kitchen, let's tackle something that tests everyone's sanity. Clamshell packaging. Those transparent plastic prisons that somehow protect everything from earbuds to office scissors and probably send thousands of people to urgent care every year. Everybody tries to open them from the top, or along the edges where it looks like they're designed to open.
You fight it, try prying it, and end up grabbing scissors,
A knife, maybe even your teeth, basically gambling with your safety. Here's what they're not telling you. Manufacturers know thieves in stores try opening packages exactly there. So they beef up the top and all the main edges like they're protecting nuclear codes. But they left a weakness. Turn that package over. The bottom edge is barely reinforced at all. Think about it. Stores hang these things or display them right side up, so companies focus all their anti-theft defenses on the parts shoplifters can easily get to. The bottom? They basically forgot about it. You don't need power tools. Regular scissors work fine. Even a can opener. Just cut along that bottom seam, maybe half an inch from the edge. It slices through like you're cutting paper. The plastic is thinner there, and the seal is way weaker. I actually tried this myself on one of those nightmare memory card packages. Attacking from the top took several minutes of struggling and cursing. From the bottom, under 10 seconds with normal kitchen scissors. You make a small opening at the bottom, and the product just slides out. No frustration, no blood, just sweet victory. And let's talk about harnessing the power of gravity in your favor. Natural peanut butter. You crack open a fresh jar and boom! There's this disgusting oil slick on top that looks like an ecological disaster happened in your pantry. Now the battle starts. You attempt to stir it, and that rock-hard peanut butter at the bottom won't cooperate. Oil sloshes over the edges, creating a mess. Somehow you end up with peanut butter that's bone dry at the bottom and swimming in oil at the top. And you wonder what you did to deserve this.
The fix is almost embarrassingly simple and requires exactly 0 effort from you. You've been storing it wrong your whole life. The second you get home from the grocery store, flip that jar upside down. Let physics handle it. When the jar is inverted, that oil, which naturally separates and rises, has to travel through all the solid peanut butter to reach the top. During that slow migration, it naturally blends itself back in perfectly. It's like finally getting that slacker on your team to pull their weight. When it's time to use it, just flip it right side up and twist it open. What you'll find is beautifully mixed, creamy peanut butter all the way through. No stirring required. No mess. No feeling like you just did an upper body workout trying to mix concrete. Quick warning though, make absolutely sure that lid is cranked on tight before inverting it. Unless you want to come home to your cabinet looking like the scene of a delicious, but incredibly oily incident. But we're not just making mistakes in the kitchen. You're working on a home project, trying to remove a screw, and disaster strikes. Your screwdriver slips, then slips again. Within seconds, that screw head looks more damaged than a car at a chop shop, and your simple 5-minute task just became an hour-long nightmare. Everyone's natural reaction is pushing harder, channeling some kind of superhuman strength, or hunting down a bigger screwdriver. But that's like thinking a bigger fork will help you eat soup. You're just destroying whatever grip is left. Before you break out the power drill, grab something simple, a rubber band. Thick ones work best, but honestly, almost any kind will do the job. Lay that rubber band flat across the stripped screw head. Now push your screwdriver down firmly through the rubber band into that screw. Turn it slowly with steady, firm pressure. What's happening is the rubber is filling in all those destroyed, worn-down grooves. You've basically given your screwdriver snow tires for metal. The rubber generates massive friction, letting your screwdriver grab onto that damaged metal and actually turn it. This hack is so effective, it's borderline ridiculous that nobody tells you about it. A rubber band that costs basically nothing, doing the exact same job as a $20 specialty screw extractor tool. Works on Phillips heads, flatheads, even those weird star-shaped ones. Simple, brilliant solution to one of the absolute worst problems you run into during projects. Remember being a kid? If you were around in the 90s or 2000s, the Capri Sun struggle is burned into your memory. Every pouch has that silver target circle on top where you're meant to stab your straw in. Except that spot is literally the worst place they could have chosen. Either you push too hard and pierce straight through both sides, creating a juice geyser that soaks you, or your straw just bends into a twisted piece of useless plastic fighting that reinforced foil. It's like they turned your juice box into a boss fight designed specifically for you to fail. But there's a trick that Big Juice has been keeping under wraps. Flip that pouch over and stab from the bottom. The bottom is thinner and way softer, less foil reinforcement. Your straw slides in smooth as butter. Clean, easy, perfect every single time. No more juice explosions. No more mangled straws. No more looking like you got into a wrestling match with a drink pouch and lost. Plus, it actually functions better this way. Drinking from the bottom means all the juice flows straight down to where your straw is. Gravity's finally on your team. No more squeezing and tilting awkwardly trying to extract those last few drops. You've been fighting basic physics since elementary school, and the answer was always right there, just flipped around. Moving from childhood nostalgia to adult indulgences. You grab a gorgeous cupcake, take that first enthusiastic bite, and instantly you've got frosting smeared across your nose like you're auditioning to be a party clown. Or maybe you try the civilized fork approach and end up shredding your perfect dessert into something that looks like it got attacked by a paper shredder. There's a superior method that'll blow your mind. The truth is, cupcakes are fundamentally poorly designed. All the frosting piled high on top creates a completely unbalanced cake-to-frosting ratio in every bite. Here's your solution. Grab your cupcake and carefully twist or slice off the bottom portion, the unfrosted cake part. Now flip that bottom piece upside down and set it directly on top of the frosting. What you've created is a cupcake sandwich with all that frosting perfectly sealed in the middle. No nose frosting, no sticky fingers everywhere, no mess whatsoever. Every single bite from start to finish gives you the ideal balance of cake and frosting. You're never forced to choose between a sugar overload or a mouthful of plain cake. This technique is so logical and effective that some upscale bakeries have actually started offering their cupcakes already deconstructed, so customers can build them this exact way. That's proof we've been eating cupcakes incorrectly for so long, even the professionals finally admitted defeat. Welcome to Cupcake Architecture. You're now running the show. And if that cupcake hack surprised you, hold on. This last one might be the most important of all. It's something millions of people do multiple times every week, and literally everyone is doing it wrong. You've been eating burgers incorrectly your entire life. Look closely at any burger bun. The top part, called the crown, is always thicker, puffier, and sturdier than the bottom part, the heel.
Fast food places and restaurants design it this way intentionally. The big puffy crown makes the burger appear larger and more appealing. But this creates a serious structural flaw. All those incredible meat juices, all the sauces, all the grease, they soak directly into that thin, weak bottom bun. That's exactly why your burger disintegrates halfway through eating it every single time. The bottom bun absorbs too much liquid, turns to paste, and collapses. Your toppings go sliding out, and you're left with a tasty but structurally failed disaster on your plate. Or worse, all over your clothes. The fix is stupidly simple. Flip your burger completely upside down. Eat it with that thick, robust crown on the bottom. Now that fluffy, absorbent top bun is underneath, ready to soak up all those delicious liquids without falling apart. The thinner bottom bun is up top, where it has zero structural responsibility. Your burger holds together way longer. You capture more of those flavorful juices and sauces in each bite instead of losing them. It stays intact from first bite to last. Feels completely wrong, but performs so much better. Top-tier burger enthusiasts and professional chefs actually swear by this upside-down method, proving that sometimes the optimal way to do something is the exact opposite of what everybody else is doing. That's it for today. I'll be creating more videos like this in the future.
Hit subscribe to catch them.